Some scents burn bright, some burn steady. Sauvage EDT is the flame, but a Sauvage EDP is the ember. But at $150, is that calmer burn actually worth your money, or is it just Dior selling you a softer story? The EDT opened doors. This one holds the room. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why that difference cost you 4 years of loyalty. Let's break it down. Hey Raiders, I'm Turk, and today we're looking at the chapter where Sauvage finally slows down and becomes something worth paying attention to. For years, I thought Sauvage was a wildfire. Loud, metallic, aggressive, everywhere I went. I wrote it off as hype over substance. But the truth is, I wasn't smelling the intention. I was smelling the force of it. This is the chapter where Sauvage stops shouting and starts speaking. And one thing before we get into the breakdown. The Ambroxan in this version is quieter. Not because there's less of it. Because the Amber and Iris are pulling it somewhere the EDT never went. Keep that in mind. Let's get into the scent. The EDP opens with a confidence the EDT never had. Still bright, but finally under control. The bergamot gives you that familiar lift, but it's warmer now. More sun-touched than piercing. And the Szechuan pepper doesn't bite the way it used to. It rounds into a quieter heat. A tingle instead of a snap. It doesn't leap off the skin. It settles in, like it knows exactly how much space it wants to take. As it moves into the heart, the whole scent shifts gears. The brightness steps back, and something deeper, more centered, starts to rise. The amber comes through, slow and resinous, not sweet, not heavy, just a calm glow filling the space the top notes left behind. The nutmeg adds a rounded spice, the kind that hums instead of spikes, and the lavender smooths everything out without softening the attitude. It's the moment where the fire stops crackling and starts to hold. But there was something I noticed. Somewhere in the dry down, the pepper stops fighting the warmth. It surrenders to it. That's not what Sauvage does. That's what Restraint does. Then the base settles in, woody, grounded, quietly magnetic. The Ambroxan gives that clean mineral radiance that lifts the whole scent without ever turning metallic. The vanilla, it sands the edges, keeps the warmth controlled. And the cedarwood is the backbone, dry, structured, steady. That part that holds everything in place long after the top and heart fade. And that controlled warmth, it's the key to how Sauvage EDP performs, and we're about to test it. Alright Raiders, let's set the comparisons aside and talk about what Sauvage EDP actually does on skin. How it behaves, how it lasts. Here's the Raider report for Dior Sauvage EDP. It lasts about 8 to 10 hours on my skin. It holds its presence without ever pushing for attention. A burn that stays steady long after the top fades. And a composure that never slips. It has a calibrated push in the first hour. Then it settles into a tight, deliberate aura. The kind of presence that doesn't flare. It simply holds its ground. It works in heat, cold, casual, date night. It moves through all of it, never feeling out of place, never fighting the moment, and always landing exactly where it should. This is the version that Dior was meant to make. The one shaped with intention. The one that trades volume for presence. And the one that earns its place in a rotation. And that quieter Ambroxan from earlier, this is where it shows up. It's the reason Sauvage EDP stays close without ever feeling weak. It's presence without broadcast. 100% restraint. So, the numbers tell you what it does, but the real question is, who does it do it for? That's what the next chapter is about. If Fragrance Trader's been helping you find your scent, subscribe and hit the bell. There's more coming, and you don't want to miss the next Raider report. I avoided Sauvage for years. The hype was everywhere. The EDT was on every shelf. And after my first experience with the Pride, an EDT alternative, I figured the whole Sauvage world just wasn't for me. It felt loud, sharp, and built for someone who wanted to walk into a room with flair instead of presence. I didn't think there was a version of this DNA that fit the way I personally moved. But the EDP changed that. This is the point where the whole line slows down and grows up. Where the heat settles into something steadier. Where the edges smooth out without losing their shape. Where the scent stops performing for the room and starts aligning with the person wearing it. It feels like the same story, just written with a heavier pen and a quieter confidence. A version that isn't chasing attention, but recognizing its own worth. And that's who this is for. Not the ones trying to be noticed, The ones who already know who they are. People who don't need to raise their voice to be understood. People who move with purpose instead of urgency. People past proving anything and focused on building something real. If you want a scent that pushes outward, the EDT is there. If you want something that stays close and stays certain, the EDP is the lane. The EDT announces. The EDP confirms. And if you're at the point in your life where you don't need to announce anything anymore, this is the one that aligns with that shift. At the price point this sits at, here's the honest answer. The EDP earns it. The longevity is real. The projection is calibrated. The versatility covers every lane except for maybe the extremes. What you're paying for isn't the name. It's the intention behind the formula. The shift from loud to certain. From presence that demands attention to presence that commands it. If you're building a rotation and you want one fragrance that works everywhere, handles all seasons, and never asks you to justify wearing it, this isn't a maybe. This is a yes. Sauvage EDT started the conversation. The EDP ended it. Restraint isn't a limitation. It's the point. So, Raiders, if you already own the EDT, is the EDP worth the upgrade? Or did you skip the first step entirely and go straight to the version that fits you better? Do me a favor. Drop your opinion in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for the next one. It helps the channel reach more Raiders and keeps us growing. And remember, raid smart. Smell better.